Hello, welcome to another episode of Beer Man's Noble Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Shubrew Brewing Company out of Zelienople, Pennsylvania, which is about 40 minutes north of Pittsburgh. This beer is this is part of their Shunami series, which is like a dessert Imperial Stout, like pastry Imperial Stout series. Excuse me, I guess it says self-explanatory dessert stout. This one is cookies and cream cheesecake. And it does not say it on the can, but I did look it up. This is 10.5 ABV. So basically, this is an Imperial Stout with Oreo cheesecake added. So we'll see how that goes. It does say that there's lactose in this too, which I'm not surprised. And this thing is gushing. Which I was also expecting a little bit, only because this can was very hard. There was like not much give to it at all, so it seemed like something was fermenting in the can. So it does pour a really nice, like very dark. Well, I mean the beer itself is pretty dark, but the head. Usually you don't get other than like the big massive classic Imperial Stouts. You usually don't find a head that's like that dark. Usually that is a good sign. So I do get a good amount of roast. There is something that's coming off as like a little metallic, which worries me a little bit. And then I get something that is a little like vanilla desserty in the background. And then I would say just some general booze aroma too. So it is very carbonated for a stout, which I would say in this scenario is kind of playing against is to its detriment. What I do like about this though is the stout itself is not. It is a big, like, fairly viscous stout, but it's not like under attenuated. It's not. It is sweet, but it's not like super sweet. And it does have a really nice roast to it too. Like, this is one of those beers that I can tell if I had this without the additives, just the base beer, I would like the base beer. It's very nutty, pretty roasty, like dark espresso coffee roasty. It's very slightly ashy, but that's pretty minimal. I don't. Other than there being some like dark chocolate, I really don't get anything desserty out of this. But other than it, well, what I just said, and it is like a little on the sweet side for like a classic Imperial Stout, but compared to today's standards, I wouldn't say it's sweet at all. Definitely not sweet for like what a pastry stout is supposed to be. But even for a regular Imperial Stout, it's really not that sweet. I actually really like this, but it's not for the reasons that most people would like this type of thing. I like it because I'm really not getting any of that Oreo stuff. It's just a good Imperial Stout. These guys are a really interesting brewery to me because I've actually had some surprisingly good beers from them. And when I say surprisingly good, I'm not saying that because like everything else they make is really bad. I'm just saying like no one really talks about them one way, good or bad, one way or the other. They just kind of exist. But But usually the beers I've had from them that I did like a lot were kind of like weird off the wall things because they did like a beer de garde with like cherries aged in brandy barrels or something. So it was supposed to be like like something similar to a Manhattan cocktail, so it wouldn't have been brandy barrels. It was like a bourbon barrel aged beer de garde with like cherries and vanilla or something like that. It was supposed to be similar to a Manhattan, and I thought that was kind of a weird thing to try to do, but it actually really worked and ended up being a very good beer. Um, excuse me, but I've had a couple things like that from them that were kind of off the wall, even by today's standards. And I went into it like not knowing what to expect at all, and then they worked. Uh, I thought this was going to be a sweet mess. I thought it was going to be over the top sweet, but then still not really taste like what it's supposed to taste like, and just be like a syrupy. Bleh. That's not what this is at all. This is a really great base beer. This honestly reminds me of like Siberian Panther from Westbrook, because that beer is only like 11%, 10.5%, whatever the base is for Mexican cake. Because that beer could easily stand on its own. They just choose to put other stuff in it. That's kind of what I feel with this too. Like this base beer could easily stand on its own as a good Imperial Stout. And it is robust enough that it could handle adding like a bunch of stuff to it as well. It is a little smoky too. I mean, this is definitely leaning towards like a really good traditional English style Imperial Stout. So I like this a lot. Like I said, it's not for the reasons that most people would probably want this beer to be, but it's a good base stout. And it does have a little bit of like a vanilla chocolatey thing on the end, but I would say, sans the sweetness, if I just drank this blindly, I don't know that I would even guess that there was like additives in it. I would think some of those flavors could be coming from the beer itself. So it depends what you're looking for. If you want something that's super desserty and tastes like straight Oreos, you're not gonna like this. But if you like classic Imperial Stouts, you probably still like this, surprisingly, considering this is supposed to be a dessert thing. Uh, so I don't remember. I think this was like $6 or $7 a can. But on that scale, I would say on my scale of buy, drink, dump, this is definitely a buy. I would buy this again. I will say this can's not super old. It's less than a year, I think, but it's definitely not fresh either. So it is possible that there was more flavors from that other stuff earlier on, but at least from what I'm drinking right now, I'm not getting much of it, and that's probably to the betterment of this beer. The only negative I would have is it's a little overcarbonated, but I think it's from the added stuff. If that wasn't in there, I don't even think it would be overcarbonated. It would be even better. So yeah, I would buy this again. Good job, Shubrew, and I would be anxious to try another one of these. So I think that's all I got on this one, though. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.